Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am really excited to share this pattern with you. It's my super scarf pattern. And by super, I mean super. This is a really nice, long, heavy-duty scarf with the extra tassels at the end that makes it really fun. And when I have been looking to make a super scarf pattern, I really wanted something that was still easy to make but had some really nice texture and pattern to it, so that wasn't a boring scarf. So I think you'll see here that this has some really nice intricate detail to it, but you know what? It's only like 2 or 3 basic stitches that you can easily learn if you don't already know how to do them. So I'm really excited to share this with you. I hope you really enjoy it. Let's take a look at the materials we'll need for this beautiful scarf. So for starters, we are going to need some yarn. And I'll tell you what I've used on this. And this is the Lion brand Hometown yarn. And I got this in, I think it's called Tampa Spice. What's it called? There it is, Tampa Spice. Now, this is a super bulky 6, and it calls for a 9mm hook, which is exactly what I used, 9mm hook. Now, a couple things about this. Like I said, when I said super, I meant super. So this scarf, not including the tassels, is about, I want to say about 100 inches long. Now, if you look at the little picture I put at the front, that's me wearing it, and I'm about 5'8". So you can see how long that scarf is. And as we get to the directions, I'm going to give you some information on how to make it either longer if you really want longer, or shorter, and how to do that. But for the size that I did, the number of stitches using this yarn and this hook, I ended up needing 5 skeins of the Hometown yarn. Now 4 were for just the scarf itself. So if you don't want to put these really fun tassels on the end, you can stop at 4. If you want to add the tassels at the end, I would suggest you getting 5 of these. And then of course, if you choose to alter the size, you may need more or less of this depending on what your size is. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this. Second of all, I already mentioned this, you'll need a 9mm hook. Again, if you want to choose a different yarn, a different brand, well, of course, a different color. If you want to change any of that, you might need a different size hook, or however you want to do that to get the gauge and the size that you need. And then, of course, as usual, a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle for weaving in the ends. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope you enjoy this. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a super scarf, and the idea, of course, behind a super scarf is that they are extra long and they're pretty wide. You can usually wrap it around your neck a few times or a couple times. So some of this length is just going to depend on how long you want your super scarf to be. Boy, that's hard to say. Say that 10 times fast. So for me, I am going to make mine about 100 inches long. You can make it 100, 110. You can make it a little shorter if you want. It really just depends on your preference. But to do that and to make it flexible, for this pattern of mine, you're going to want to have a chain, or a starting chain, or a foundation chain that is multiples of 5. So I already went ahead and got a little head start here, and I have a foundation half double crochet row. So I went ahead and did the foundation half double crochet row, and mine, as you can see, is long, and I have 210 foundation half double crochets. Now, to that, you're going to want to add 2. I have in my pattern an extra double crochet at the beginning and 1 at the end, just to have a nice starting and ending to the rows. So for that means I'm going to need in mine 212 half double crochets, so I'll need to add 2 more of those. Now, if you're not familiar with a foundation half double crochet row, check out the tutorial that I'm putting down in the description box so that you can do that. Basically what that does is that saves you from having to make a really long chain one way and then come all the way back with half double crochets. I did it all in one. And especially for something that's this long, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do the half double crochet, the foundation half double crochet. If you're not comfortable with that though, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it. I just think it looks neater to do that. So to do that, in addition to the 2 that you'll add to the foundation chain for the starting and ending double crochets, you're also going to want to add 2 more before you start, so that you can add, so you can do your half double crochet. So for here, I said I had 210, which is my multiples of 5. Then I need to add 2 more for the starting and ending double crochet that I'm going to do in this pattern. So there's 1, and I'll add 1 more. And that's going to get me 212. Now, if you want to follow along and do exactly what I'm doing, you're going to want to make sure that you do a foundation chain of 214 and then do your first half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, and then go across all of the stitches with half double crochets, and you should end with 212 half double crochets. I hope that made sense. Okay, so once you get 212 half double crochets, then we can begin with our first row of our pattern. This is kind of like your foundation chain. So for starters, we're going to do, as I said, a double crochet, because I have a double crochet, an extra one at the beginning and end of every row. Now I prefer to do, as I'm sure you know by now if you've watched my channels, that I prefer to do an alternative turning chain instead of a chain 2. If you don't want to do that, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and chain 3 here, and that'll count as your first double crochet. I just did the alternative turning chain instead. So now that I've done that initial double crochet, now we'll get to our pattern, which is going to be a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then do a double crochet. Now we're going to do a double crochet, but you're going to skip 1 first. No chain. It's going to end up like a cross. We're going to do a double crochet here after you've skipped 1. So I just finished that double crochet. I skipped this one in between, and I did a double crochet. Now we're going to cross back over and pick up and do a double crochet on this one that we skipped. And you want this double crochet to be in front of this one. So you're going to yarn over and do your double crochet in the one that we skipped. Now, one of the things that you'll have to do is to bring it in front. You'll have to move this out of the way. So the way I like to do that is just keep my thumb here as I go into this one that we missed, right? And you want to go in front. So to do that, you want to push that to the back, that double crochet that we already made. So you can see that here's your double crochet that you're starting, and it's in front of that one that we crossed over and did. So now you can complete your double crochet. And, excuse me, let me get that right, there you go. And there's a tendency when you're doing these crosses to make them tight. So keep your stitches loose here when you do that, so that you'll really be able to see that pattern. Now I'm going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, and just remember we actually have a stitch here, right? We did the double crochet, there's already a stitch here, so you want to come all the way over here to do the next double crochet. Okay? So we did chain 1, double crochet, we did a double crochet over here, we came back in front and did a double crochet here, and then we did a double crochet here, so you can kind of see the cross starting there. Now I'm going to do that again. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Now I'm going to do that cross again, so I'm skipping this one and going into the next one. Now I need to go back to the one that we skipped and put a double crochet here in front of this one we already did, so I'm ready to push that to the back. Put your double crochet through. Here it is. I've pushed that one to the back. Go ahead and complete your double crochet, keeping your stitches loose. And then do the next double crochet, which is here. Just notice that you do already have a stitch there in that. So now we're going to put a double crochet here. Okay? And we'll do that one more time. So your pattern of 5 is, we're going to chain 1, skip 1, so we'll have a double crochet. We're going to skip 1 and do a double crochet over here for the first part of our cross. We're going to come back in front and do a double crochet in front. I've pushed that other one to the back so we can finish our double crochet here. There you go. And then here we go our last time. Oops, did I put that? Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure I put that in the right one. See, it's easy to think you need to put a stitch there, but you don't. Last time. Double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and then the cross. Here. Then we're going to go in front and get the one we missed. There you go. And then your double crochet. So you are going to repeat this pattern, right? You're going to do chain 1, double crochet, your cross, and your double crochet. So you're ending on that double crochet all the way to the end. When you get to the end, if I can find it because it's so long, when you get to the very end, you're going to end that double crochet here. You'll have 1 stitch left, and there's that additional double crochet that I told you about from the beginning. So you'll have your chain 1 double crochet, your cross, and then your double crochet, and then you'll have 1 more double crochet at the end. Just go ahead and repeat all that till you get to the end, and we'll just review these last couple of stitches when you get there. So I have just about completed the first row. You can see the repeating pattern here. Double crochet with the crosses all the way across here. And at the end, after the chain 1, skip 1, I have a double crochet, the cross double crochets, and then another double crochet. And then, as I said, we're going to start and end every row with an extra double crochet. So we'll just have to add one more here to the end. So you'll have 2 in a row there, like that. And that will complete row 1. Now, what we want to do is chain 1 and turn. And for the second row, I'm just going to do a row of half double crochets all the way across. And I should mention that chain 1 that we just completed does not count as a stitch. So go ahead and do a half double crochet in that very first space that you have there, that very first stitch, okay? And then do your half double crochets all the way across. Now when you get to, let me get there first, when you get to the chain 1 space, you are going to go ahead and do a half double crochet in that chain 1 space, which I'll show you in a minute here. Okay, so I have the half double crochets all the way there. Here's the first chain 1 space, and I'm just going to do that half double crochet right in that chain 1 space, okay? And then I am going to continue to do that half double crochet all the way across to the end of the row. And then when you get there to the end of the row, meet me back here and we'll talk about row 3. I have finished row 2, so you can see I went ahead and put a half double crochet in every stitch all the way across. And now what we're going to do is repeat rows 1 and 2 more times. So that's 4 rows total. So I'll just start off on row 1 more time so we get that pattern down pat, and then I'll meet you back after we do those rows 2 more times. So let's go ahead and repeat row 1. Either do your 3 chain or alternative chain, whichever you prefer. And that will count as your first double crochet. Yep, this is falling, let me get that up, okay. Then do your second double crochet. And now your pattern, which is chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet, skip 1, 1 double crochet, okay, then cross back over. So double crochet in the stitch that you skipped, and that stitch should be in front, so we moved that other double crochet to the back. Again, just a reminder to keep those stitches loose so that those crosses don't get too tight, okay? And then double crochet in the next stitch. And then you repeat that, chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet, skip 1, 1 double crochet, come back and put a double crochet in the stitch that you skipped right here in front. There we go. And then a double crochet. And then continue with that pattern all the way to the end. Then for row 2, chain 1 and turn and do your half double crochets all the way across. And then do row 1 and row 2 one more time, and then we'll meet back here and talk about next steps. Okay, so you can see that I have done rows 1 and 2 a total of 3 times now, and we have a really nice pattern that you can see on this super scarf. And it's got some texture to it with the crosses and all that. So I think it's looking really nice. So let's go ahead and go on to our next row. And we ended with the half double crochet row. So now we're going to do really simply a row of double crochet. So really simple. I am all twisted up here, one moment. There we go. All right, so now all we're going to do is a row of just plain old double crochet all the way across. Either do chain 3 or your alternative turning chain, whichever way you'd like to do that. And go ahead and put a row of double crochet all the way across in all of these half double crochets that you just did. So go ahead and do that, a simple row. When you get to the end, come back here and we'll talk about our next little pattern in the middle. As you can see, I finished putting in the double crochet row all the way across. I went ahead and turned my work, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this cross stitch that we have going down here. I'm just going to do the cross stitch all the way across. However, a double crochet at the beginning and the end, just like we've been doing all the way along. Now, just one thing to keep in mind, in order to do the cross stitches evenly all the way across, your number of stitches here have to be divisible by 2, because we're going to do a pattern of 2 all the way across. And ours was multiple of 5. So mine works out because I actually have 212 stitches all the way across. If you have something that is an odd number and not divisible by 2, all you need to do is find the center of your work and just put a double crochet in the center, and then on either side of that double crochet in the center you would do the double crochet cross stitch. I think that would work just fine. Mine happens to work out that it's divisible by 2, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the double crochet cross stitch all the way across. So I've started with my alternative turning chain here. You can use your chain 3 instead if you'd like. And then what we're going to do are those crossed double crochet. So I'm going to skip 1, and in the next stitch I'm going to do a double crochet. And then, like usual, I'm going to go back to the one we skipped and put a double crochet there. So, and that will be in front of the double crochet you just did. So that means I've got to push that double crochet to the back, just like we did on rows 1, 3, 5, and do your double crochet in front. And again, just try to keep your stitches loose there so those crosses don't get too tight. So you can see that's the one here and the one there. So your next stitch would be here, but we're going to do a cross. So you're going to skip that next stitch and go ahead and do your double crochet in the next one. So you'll continue to do that. There's your double crochet. Then let's go back one, get more yarn, and do your double crochet in front of the double crochet that you just made. All right, and then skip one, and in the next stitch do a double crochet, go back to the one that you skipped and do a double crochet in front, and you'll continue to do this all the way across, and you'll see that cross pattern come out all the way across. So go ahead and do your cross pattern all the way across. If you need to, because of an odd number of stitches, like I said, when you get to the middle, just do one single double crochet and then continue with your cross stitch the rest of the way. And then when you get to the end, come back here and I'll tell you what to do next. Well, what you should have now is this crisscross pattern that goes all the way across for that row, and if you turn it around you'll see it just goes in the opposite direction, so it's really kind of a cool textured look there in the middle of the super scarf. So Now what we're going to do that we've gotten, this is really the middle row of the scarf. Now that what we're going to do is just do everything backwards of what we just did. So the row before this was a double crochet row. So we are going to turn around and do a double crochet row all the way across. If I can get this set up here. Yeah, here we go. So this row previous was double crochet to this, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the stitches that we just did in reverse order. So start with a double crochet, either your alternative turning chain or your chain 3, and simply do a double crochet in every stitch all the way across. And each one of these crisscross stitches that you did in the row before. Okay, so go ahead and do a double crochet in each stitch all the way across. Get to the end. We'll come back here. Of course, the one previous to that was a half double crochet, so that's what we're going to do next as we continue on here. But finish up this double crochet row and come back here, and we'll just continue to talk about each row. Okay, there's the double crochet all the way across after we did that crisscross row. And so you look back, we had a half double crochet row before that double crochet. So we're going to do, the next one we're going to do is the half double crochet row. So you can go ahead and do your turning chain and then put a half double crochet in every stitch all the way across. Maybe. There you go. All right, so go into each stitch here and go ahead and do a half double crochet row. And then when you're done, meet me back here and I'll talk to you about the next few rows. And here is the half double crochets that we did all the way across. So if you're looking at that middle section, we have the crisscrosses, we have the double crochet on each side, and then we have the half double crochet on each side. Now what we need to do is the pattern that we started with. So this is row 1, then the half double crochet is row 2, and then we repeat that. So we need to do that pattern a total of 3 times to finish this up. So let's just do a reminder of row 1, just to remember what that is. So for row 1, you would either do a chain 3 or your alternative turning chain, whichever you prefer. And then 1 more double crochet. And then from here, so that's 2 double crochets there. From here, this is the pattern that you repeat. So chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Then your crisscross double crochet, so skip 1 and do a double crochet. Then go back to the one that you skipped. Again, I keep my thumb there just to be able to push that other double crochet out of the way. Then you're done, double crochet so that you have your crisscross, and then end with another double crochet. And then that's the pattern that you will repeat. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, skip 1, double crochet into the next. Then you're going to go back to the one that you skipped and put in a double crochet in front, and then a double crochet. So this pattern you'll repeat all the way across the row, and remember, end with an additional double crochet in your last stitch. Then for row 2 is the half double crochet, and you'll repeat those 2 rows until you've done that 3 times. When you finished all 3 of the repeats of this, come back here and we'll talk about finishing up. Now I have completed the repeats of row 1 and 2. You can see I did that 3 times on this side, and it now matches the 3 times we have on this side. And if you want, you can just fasten off where you are, weave in that end, and you can be done with your super scarf. You know I like to give options. So that is your first option, is just call it done at this point. Now for me, I'm going to do something fun here, and I am going to add tassels at the end. Again, you don't have to do this, but I think especially with something this long, it kind of looks fun to have these on the ends of the scarf. So here's what I've done. And I should say, if you want to stop right here and you used the same yarn that I did and you did it the same length that I did, I ended up using 4 skeins of yarn just for the scarf itself. If you want to add the tassels on the end, I would get a 5th skein of yarn just to make sure you have enough for the tassels. And then what I did is I cut pieces of yarn that measured 20 inches. So you can see here, it's about twice as long as what's listed here, or what's left here on the tassel. So I got about 20 inches here. You don't have to do it this long. I just think since the scarf itself is so long, it can probably handle a nice long tassel on the end. But do whatever length you want. If you want it half that length, that's fine. Just keep in mind that you're gonna want a little room for the actual knot here that we put in. And I would make them a little bit longer than you want, just so that if you, at the end, if you want to trim it, you have some room to trim it. I don't mind them being a little different in lengths, not crazy different. So I'll probably do a little trimming, but not a lot. But give yourself some room to go back through and trim that if you'd like to. So a little bit longer than probably that you want, and you should be safe. So here's what I've done to put the tassels on. I'm taking 3 pieces of yarn that are about 20 inches, and I'm going to fold this in half. Okay, so that's about in half right there. And then I'm going to take my hook, and I'm going to end up putting tassels wherever we have a half double crochet. So you can see the first row is a half double crochet. Here's a half double crochet row, half double crochet row, half double crochet row. Here is our center panel that we did. So I'll probably end up doing one just where we did those double crocheted that are cross. And then I'll continue on with the half double crochet rows. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hook into the, where'd it go? Here it is. I'm going to put my hook into the half double crochet row right there, and make sure you're putting it under 2 yarns, not just 1 loop but 2 loops. Here is my yarn that's folded in half, and this is the part I'm going to put through the hook. So I have it here. I am going to grab these 3, and I'm going to pull it through where my hook is on the scarf, okay? And then I just want to make sure that that kind of came through evenly before I finalize that. So I want to even this out just a little bit there. Okay, so that's pretty even. Here's where it is on the scarf. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all 6 of those through where I brought that through on the hook. Yeah, I know it's a little tricky with all 6, but it'll work. So go through there. I pulled that through and pull all 6 through. Ta-da! All right, and then you can tighten that up, and there you have a little, kind of a little knot where you pulled that through, right? Not too bad as far as evenness there, etc. And there's that one. Then you can go to the next one. Let's just do that one more time. I'm gonna grab 3 of my pieces of yarn. And yes, I did cut all of these ahead of time so that I'd have them ready and they would all, for the most part, be the same size. Okay, so I'm folding it in half. Here's the part I'm gonna stick through the scarf. I'm going to go to my next half double crochet row and stick my hook through 2 loops there. I'm going to grab that end that I folded over and pull that through. Okay, there's that pulled through. And then before I pull the rest through, I just want to make sure they're fairly even, which they are. Good job. All right, make myself a little space there. Then I'm going to take all 6 and I'm going to pull it through those 3. See that? And then pull all the way through. Tighten that up. There's your 3rd tassel. See? Isn't that cute? All right, so go ahead and do that. At each half double crochet row, there's one here. Here is that center panel I talked about. I'm gonna put it through this last single double crochet that we had here. Then I'm gonna go to the next half double crochet row, that half double crochet row, that one, and then this final one here. So we are going to end up having, if you end up doing it the same way that I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You should have 9 on each side, 3 strands each that when folded in half make 6. And you can do that all the way across on both sides. And when you finish that, come back here and we'll take a look at what that looks like. And just like that, we are done. Here are all those fun tassels that we added along the edge in all the half double crochet rows and the one in the middle. And as you can see, this is a really long, super scarf with the added fun of some tassels down here at the end. And I think you can see all this beautiful intricate pattern here throughout the scarf. So I really hope you enjoyed this pattern. If you could please take a minute to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. That really helps out the channel. And as usual, if you have questions or comments, or if you have any requests for other patterns, please take a minute and leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.